New Horizons is full of all kinds of fun and useful exploit tricks that you might not know about, and while some of these have been patched over the years, there are still many remaining that you'll definitely want to take advantage of. Some of these involve glitches, but others are just taking advantage of certain mechanics in the game in ways that Nintendo probably didn't intend you to. Either way, they'll definitely give you a big advantage in certain departments of the game. So I've decided to make a compilation video going over some of my favorite exploits that I've previously made videos about in Animal Crossing New Horizons. Leave a like on the video if you're ready for some exploits, and let's do this. Let's start the video off with a Nook's Cranny exploit. So this was discovered by Majesty1985 on Reddit, and as you can see, they've shared that you can go up to 3 million bells in about 10 minutes, which makes this one of the absolute craziest and best ways to make bells in Animal Crossing New Horizons. Now, you may remember me sharing another bells exploit a month or so ago, which involves the donation box item. Basically, you could put your bells into it and then get lucky enough to have it as a hot item at Nook's Cranny, sell it to them, and they would give you double of what is inside. This exploit is fairly similar, however it is so much easier and way more convenient, meaning you'd never really need to use that donation box exploit ever again. That's because this exploit involves an item known as the Pile of Cash, which you can get as a DIY recipe. In order to craft it, you need 99,000 bells each time. To make this exploit work, you're basically going to need a few things. First of all, you're going to have learned this DIY recipe. Next, you're going to need at least 99,000 bells so you can craft it one time. And then you're going to have to get lucky enough to get it as a hot item in Nook's Cranny. Now, of course, relying on luck is a bit annoying, but you definitely should have the chance to get it at some point as your hot item. Once you do, then you're definitely in for the time of your life, because you can go and sell this to Timmy and Tommy, and they will give you so many bells at once for it, more than doubling the 99,000 bells which you put in to craft this item to begin with. From then on out, all you have to do is use those bells that you got from Timmy and Tommy to craft even more of these piles of cash, and just keep selling them to Timmy and Tommy, which means that you can use the bells that you've gotten to continuously make yourself more and more bells, and it is so easy to do. Crafting these will take you a matter of seconds, whereas if you were doing the old donation box method, you'd have to slowly put in 1,000 bells at a time just to get it up to 99,000, which was the cap. This would definitely take a really long time, and although the donation box could still be a good way to make a lot of extra bells if you aren't getting lucky enough to get the pile of cash, it is just so much more convenient to wait it out and see if you can get that as your hot item. If you do manage to get it, then like I've said, you will get yourself so many bells at once, you'll literally not know what to do with them. The coolest part about this as well is that it is self-sustaining, meaning that all the bells you're putting in will make you even more bells. Although for a lot of people it might still be easier to use the stalk market to get yourself some turnips and get a lot of bells that way, that does still rely on you having to go to other people's islands and find people who have the right prices and such, and of course getting a good deal on your turnips to begin with. I definitely see this as one of the best alternative ways to make a ton of bells at once. You just have to get lucky enough to get it as your hot item. Now, like I said at the start of this video, don't worry too much about Nintendo patching this out. I know a lot of people can worry that when I might post a video about a new exploit or something interesting like this, Nintendo might quickly rush to patch it out, but this is something that they intentionally did. Maybe they didn't expect people to make this many bells off it so quickly, but ultimately it is something they chose to put in the game. It's not a glitch like some of the other exploits in the game are. It's also worth noting that even though the donation box exploit completely blew up on YouTube and other places online, Nintendo did not patch this in the latest 2.0.5 update, where they did patch a ton of other things. That shows me that clearly Nintendo has no interest in patching things like this, because they're just neat little tricks which can help players if they do get lucky enough for all the stars to align for them to have this recipe and for them to get it as their hot item in Nook's Cranny. As I said earlier, the luck element of things can be a little bit irritating, but I think if you wait it out, and of course you do maybe take that time to make sure you've got enough bells and you've got the recipe to craft it when you do get it as your hot item, it's a really great, easy, convenient way to make so many bells at once. and effectively you could use it to get unlimited bells. You would never really need to have to run out again, as long as you can set some time up to actually do this in a day, maybe spend an hour doing it. I can imagine you would have more bells than you'd possibly know what you need to do with. I also do understand that a lot of players already have so many bells, but everyone plays the game at a different pace, and there are tons of new players joining the game every single day, so this could be really helpful for someone who's still trying to pay off those loans and such. But let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think about this infinite bells exploit at Nook's Cranny? Will you be trying it out for yourself? Let me know your thoughts. Okay, how about another Nook's Cranny exploit now? A user on Reddit known as Taiwan1 has discovered a really cool exploit or hidden feature with the donation box when you sell it to Nook's Cranny. Now, if you manage to get the donation box as one of your hot items at Nook's Cranny, a feature that you can check outside of the shop every single day, and then you sell it with bells in it, the bells inside will actually be doubled. So, for example, if you try to sell a donation box with 1,000 bells in it, they'll offer you about 3,920 bells. If you try it with 20,000 bells inside, they'll offer you about 41,920 bells. So effectively, this is a simple way to double your money if you're lucky enough to get the donation box as your hot item in Nook's Cranny. Now, the only downside is it is a little bit inconvenient putting money into this donation box. Honestly, I don't know why they made the item like this where you can only put 1,000 bells in at a time. That is such a Nintendo thing to do, but we kind of have to live with that. The upside, however, is if you were going to craft hot items to sell to Nook's Cranny, you'd basically be pressing the A button a bunch of times anyways, so you're not really wasting that much time. Not to mention the fact that almost practically any other item that you're going to get as a hot item won't yield you as many bells as the donation boxes potentially can. As you can see, if you sell a donation box that is a hot item filled up with bells, which is 99,000, Timmy will actually give you 199,920 bells, which is a lot of bells to get from selling a single item. Not to mention the fact that you don't have to worry about wasting a ton of materials crafting things just to sell them to Timmy and Tommy. If you're gonna go down that path, there's almost no point using the hot items feature. You might as well just sell turnips or something else. But when you're selling these donation boxes, you can definitely make a really good profit. It's unknown if Nintendo really thought this out, or if it's just something bonus they did to kind of say, hey, if you get lucky enough to get this item, then you get rewarded really well. It does feel a little bit cheeky though, honestly. I mean, you do get literally so many bells if you get this as your hot item. Of course though, like I said, luck does have to be on your side to do that, and of course you do have to go through the process of donating 1,000 bells at a time, which can be a little bit soul crushing, but hey, if you need those bells, this could be a really good way of doing it. Another good tip, which actually works much more passively, is just donate to the box every time you see it and then wait for it to be a hot item. You don't have to rush to do it, but when it is your hot item via chance, then you'll have the bells already in the donation box ready to sell to Nook's Cranny, which is a really nice passive way of doing it, so you don't have to go through the stress of donating 1,000 bells at a time if you're not that worried about getting many bells at once. Once again, thank you so much to Taiwan1 for sharing this tip. I really appreciate them letting me make a video about this, and I hope you guys enjoyed learning about it as well. Leave your thoughts down in the comments section below. How do you make your bells in Animal Crossing New Horizons? Now, let's take a look at some of the glitch exploits that still work in New Horizons and haven't been patched yet. To start us off, a big one that comes to mind happens to be the puzzle glitch, also known as the out of bound glitch and the bathtub glitch. Now, if you're unfamiliar with this, basically it involves glitching into certain items or places you shouldn't be using a little tiny puzzle piece or just another small flat item. Now, more recently, I'd actually seen some people saying they just could not get this to work, so it definitely led me to believe that this would have been patched by Nintendo, especially since the glitch got so much traction online and so many people knew about it. So I decided to set it up for myself to see. As you can see here, what you need to do is put a puzzle piece on the edge of a rounded cliff. From there, you basically need to use a ladder to climb up on top of the puzzle piece from this little curved section. Once you're on top, your character should wiggle around a lot. It'll look like they're kind of glitching out, which they are. Now, the thing about this glitch is it's incredibly finicky. It can be really hard sometimes to try and glitch into certain items. But thankfully, I can confirm to you that this exploit still works in 2023, which is really cool. So that means any of the new items which were added with the 2.0 update in November 2021, you should be able to glitch into them. That includes this bathtub with yuzu item, which I really love, and of course many others as well. This glitch is really nice and it's super harmless. It can be a way of getting into the rivers on your island as well as on top of buildings around the island, which is really cool. So it's definitely a fun one. I think it's at its best when using it to kind of take photographs, because a lot of people will be asking you, how did you get in that bathtub? Is that a new feature? Sadly, it isn't something we can actually do without the glitch, but that would have been a really cool mechanic if we could have, and hopefully they'll do that in the next game. Still, I'm happy this one works. I'm definitely surprised though that Nintendo didn't decide to patch it like I mentioned, because this glitch got so much traction online. In my opinion, there's no way that someone from Nintendo didn't see this at some point, so I guess they decided it just wouldn't be worth the effort to patch it, and I think that's a good mentality to have because it's completely harmless. I just wanted to note that you can also use this glitch in order to get into the middle of tables, for example, and then you can actually place down items in the center of larger tables. This is something which has always frustrated me in Animal Crossing New Horizons, where when you put down an item on top of a surface like this, it goes to the edges. You can't center it perfectly. So incorporating this glitch, you can actually do that, which is definitely fantastic. And yes, this also still works in 2023, so it should help you designers out there. Another interesting one is the Kappen exploit, and I really didn't expect Nintendo to fix this, and I was right, they haven't so far. So basically the way this works is you can actually reset Kappen islands by going to an island, seeing if you don't like it or not, and then simply resetting. Now this doesn't work for other things in the game. For example, you can't do it with Nook Mile Ticket Islands, and a big reason for that is because the game actually auto-saves when you go to those islands, but when you go to a Kappen island, it doesn't. So that means the data isn't saved and you can simply reset and get another island. Again, I think this would have probably been too much work on Nintendo's part to try and fix. They may have had to do changes to the saving system in order to really get this working, and it wouldn't have really been worth it at all, because it's still a decent amount of effort to actually have to go and reset, and a lot of people aren't really going to bother to do this. But if you are low on Nook Miles, then you could definitely do this to get a really interesting island. I managed to get the Star Fragment Island, which is so cool, and I still am kind of surprised that they even added something like this to the game. It's pretty rare as well, so it was definitely exciting to actually be able to get it, because honestly, I feel like I haven't seen this island in a year now, so I'm happy that it still exists. Overall, definitely not one that we'll ever see patched in my opinion, but that's a good thing. If you don't have many Nook Miles, then this could really help you out, and I think we've all been there where we've been low on Nook Miles. Another exploit which still works in 2023 is the Cliff Tree glitch. Basically, you can use this glitch to put trees on the edges of cliffs, something that normally you wouldn't be able to do at all. It's a design limitation, and trees have to have enough space around them. But using this glitch, you can actually do it, and once again, it involves terraforming. To use this glitch, you have to start off by terraforming a section of 9 tiles. In one of the corners, you're going to want to cut out a piece like you can see me doing here. After that, you're going to want to create a little water pattern like you can see me doing here. It also has to be curved in this little nook that you just cut out. After that, you can head onto the top of the cliff and plant the tree of your choice. Basically, that little water section is what is allowing you to plant a tree in a space where you usually wouldn't be able to, which is pretty cool. After that, you can basically use your terraforming shovel to dig away pieces of the cliff, and boom, it'll be right on the edge and you can kind of terraform around it. In fact, you can even use this to have trees on their own little cliff pedestals, which is really cool. So once again, a very harmless little exploit that I don't think Nintendo ever really bothered to glitch, or maybe it was even too complicated, because like we've seen with a lot of these glitches and exploits, they involve terraforming and they might actually have to change certain fundamentals just to fix one glitch, which wouldn't be worth it. This one is honestly fantastic for designers, and I'm so happy that it never got patched. I think that is really fantastic. But once again, I kind of wish this was a feature just to begin with. Having the ability to do this would have been really cool. And it does feel like you have to put a lot of effort into this glitch just for a little bit of return, although I have seen a lot of people do it, so I guess the effort is worth it because it always looks really great in my opinion. I always really love glitches that involve you doing something related to designing, allowing you to do something that Nintendo would usually limit us for. In my opinion, it's definitely not a good idea to limit players' creativity like this. especially when we can do so much more in Animal Crossing New Horizons as well in terms of designing. Now sadly, not every glitch has been safe in Animal Crossing New Horizons. For example, a glitch which allowed you to climb up onto the 4th level of your island has actually been patched out. Now, as far as I know, you can still technically climb up there, but you can no longer place items up there at all. Your inventory just doesn't work. So sadly, this was one Nintendo took away. In fact, when they did, they made it so that all of the items people have put up on these levels would actually be transported to the recycling box. So Nintendo is definitely well aware of certain glitches, and if they can fix them, they've definitely tried to. We also can't forget about the glitch which allowed you to create a special secret area using waterfalls, where you could basically jump through the waterfalls to get to a different spot. That also got patched. The same with another glitch where you could actually plant trees on your pathways, which got patched incredibly quickly. Now, how about a sneaky tool exploit that you might not know? Tools are an incredibly essential part of Animal Crossing New Horizons, and they've always been a thing throughout the series' history. However, one change to them in Animal Crossing New Horizons did disappoint a lot of fans, and this is the fact that tools can actually break, which will require you to often craft and buy new ones. In fact, even gold tools, which require a lot of time and effort to get, still can break after a certain amount of uses. However, as it turns out, there may be a way around this. This new exploit-like trick can make it so that your tools will never break and consume any durability. The game never actually tells or shows you when this happens either, so let me explain. Now, as you know, in the 2.0 update, Katrina was introduced to the game, and she gives us fortunes every single day which can affect our luck around the island. One of the fortunes that you can actually get from her is luck with belonging. Now, this is effectively the basis for our exploit. If you get luck with belongings from Katrina, then it means that your tools will not consume any durability for that day, which basically means they will not break no matter what you do in that entire day. However, you would have to get lucky in order to get this fortune, and if you did get bad luck with your belongings, then your tools would break even quicker. But thankfully, there is a really clever way around this, and it's super easy to do. As it turns out, your fortune in Animal Crossing New Horizons isn't set at the start of the day, meaning that when your character wakes up, they don't have good or bad luck yet. It only activates when you actually talk to Katrina. So you can go have a chat with her, you can get the fortune, and if it's not the belongings one, you can simply reset the day and head back to Harvey's Island, and you will get a new randomized fortune. Alternatively, you could just time travel, but if you're someone who doesn't like to do that, or you just want a quicker method in my opinion, then it's a lot easier just to reset for a different fortune. You just have to make sure that you reset before you end the conversation with Katrina, otherwise the game might autosave and then your fortune will be locked in for the day. So using this exploit and this feature, you can lock yourself into having tools that are completely unbreakable for the day. Now for some players, I do understand that they might feel like this is too much effort in order to stop their tools from breaking. After all, you can just craft or buy more, and you do even get rewarded with Nook Miles sometimes when your tools break enough times. But if it's a day where you plan on having a proper grind in Animal Crossing New Horizons, where you'll be hitting rocks with your shovel in order to get resources, chopping down trees, or just getting wood, then this is incredibly useful to do, as it means you won't have to go backwards and forwards wasting time crafting more tools and using up more resources, or taking the time to make more trips to Nook's Cranny. Not to mention the fact that luck with belongings from Katrina will also get you more gifts from your villagers that day, and even a guaranteed rare Kappan Island if you haven't already visited one yet that day. However, if you still feel like that is too much effort and not worth your time, there is an even easier method to stop your tools from breaking. All you have to do is head to a crafting bench and then customize the tools that you don't want to break, and it will effectively reset their durability so they are like new. Of course, this will require customization kits, but those are fairly easy to come by. There are a few downsides to this though. You will have to keep track of how many times you've actually used these tools to know their durability. On screen, I'm sharing an infographic which tells you how many uses you get out of each tool, so you'd have to make sure you customize it again before it runs out. Another downside with this is that you cannot customize every tool, meaning those rare golden tools which take so much effort to get and really you'd want to keep hold of the most after working so hard for them, they cannot be customized, meaning you cannot use this method on them. As you can see on screen, golden tools do have more use than the regular ones, but still, they can and will break. That's personally why I like this Katrina method more, because whilst it does take a little bit more time to do, it feels like you get more out of it. Well, I hope you enjoyed checking out those exploits. I found that a lot of fun to revisit some of them, and I'll definitely be using them in the game. Let me know any other interesting exploits and tips and tricks that you've found in the comments section down below. If you made it to the end, be sure to comment Bob's Gang so I know you did. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, and if you haven't already, consider subscribing and turning on notifications for more.